So, back in my car today in the park, and another lesson just hit me, or another I hope this help moments just hit me. So one of my favorite movie franchises is the Avengers. Basically anything Marvel. I love it. I will watch it over and over again. It's a great storyline. I feel like they were all well done. But bear with me as I go the long way again. So today's movie is the Avengers Endgame. And I specifically want to talk about the scene with Thor and Rocket. So, everybody's sent off in pairs to go find the Infinity Stones so we can try to bring everybody back. And Thor gets paired with Rocket. I love Thor in this because he has totally lost hope. He has totally lost faith. He's gained a ton of weight. He's basically given up on life. He feels defeated. He feels like he failed. And he's like basically, playing video games with his bros. Just kind of like, look, he's just so defeated by the defeat. And, so him and Rocket go, and he's like totally struggling. Like he starts crying. He was like, wait, I don't think I can do this. He has a whole anxiety attack in the middle of trying to save the world. And Rocket literally slaps him in the face. And he's like, look, there's a whole lot of people that are gone. And I'm sorry that your mother is gone. But she's actually gone. There's a whole lot of people that aren't really gone. So like, it's a whole moment. And Thor ends up running off anyway. And, Rocket has to kind of do it by himself. But in that, he has a wonderful encounter with his mother that I absolutely love. And, she knows immediately like that's her son. And she's like, you've been through some stuff, huh? And they hug. But the end moment is what I want to focus on, is right before they leave. Thor stands there and he holds his hand out, and Rocket's like, what are you doing? And his mom is like, it takes a minute. And Mjolnir comes to him, and so he catches, Mjolnir, and or as what's her name would say, Mew Mew, he catches it, and he's like, I'm still worthy. He's like, I'm still worthy. And that moment just always sits with me, because I think sometimes when we feel like we are at our absolute lowest, not producing, not making stuff happen, not, the world's definition of success, we tend to start thinking we're not worthy. And I know it, after my divorce, I struggled so deeply with feeling worthy. I struggled so deeply with feeling like I just wasn't enough. My ex was very successful at making me feel like I wasn't enough. I wasn't doing enough. I didn't deserve certain things. Punishment was a popular thing when I didn't do what he felt that I should do. And I really, really struggled with that, like working through that. And what I had to learn was that worth is an inside job. And it's not always determined by the things that everybody else wants to say. Because if you look at Thor, he was overweight and had literally given up on life. And holding and yielding or wielding Mjolnir is about he who is worthy to hold this sword. And I love it that at his lowest, he was still worthy. And after a 20-year marriage, owning a home, building a life with someone, moving into your first apartment with a blow-up mattress on the floor, I'm going to tell you, I felt pretty low. I felt like I was moving backwards. I had achieved all of this stuff with a partner, and now I was like out on my ass with nothing. And it was really, really hard to kind of build back up my self-worth. But none of that came from what he said or what he thought or what other people thought or what other people told him about me. And one of the things that I worked through with my therapist is she was like, okay, well, what's worthy to you? What's important to you? What do you think a successful life look like? And so I think one of the things that you have to do in recovering from narcissistic abuse is you have to really sit down and spend some time building a life that is pleasing to you. Building a life where your principles matter. And it's funny because it's something I always say to my daughter. Isn't it funny how we don't follow our own advice as parents sometimes? I've always told her, I said, you've got to kind of build a hedge around yourself, not so strong that nobody can penetrate it, but strong enough so that not just anybody and everybody can penetrate it. And what I meant by that hedge was it protects your value system. It protects who you are, because the world is going to constantly try to tell you who you should be, who you shouldn't be, what's a good woman, what's not a good woman, what's a good this. You're sick. Like everybody, the whole way the world is set up is going to try to infiltrate your self-worth and what you think of yourself. And you kind of need this hedge to kind of block that stuff out. Why I wasn't following my own advice. And to sit down and create a value system of my own outside of what I was said is a beautiful thing. So I look at Thor, who was overweight, had given in to his defeat, and he was still worthy. I may be a little overweight, but I haven't given in to my defeat. I get up every day, I keep moving. Then I guess I qualify as still worthy. So are you. Hope that helped.